Hey, I was done recording for the day. I had just clocked out, but I seen this to come across my feed and it got my attention. Was about to watch it on my own, but decided to watch it with y'all. Something I'm very interested in, and I'd imagine a lot of y'all would be interested in as well, bruh. The title got my attention, so hopefully it's not clickbait, Candace. But it says, "I'm done being threatened. The Michael Jackson and Diddy connection exposed." So I don't know where we're going with that. I don't know any connection between Michael Jackson and Diddy. I hope no Michael Jackson slander is about to take place. Of course, I'm always down for the Diddy slander because Diddy is the gay demon. Um, but yeah, let's tap in. Before we do tap in, I decided to clock back in, so I gotta run that promo. You know what I'm saying? And anytime you see your boy rocking some shit that you rocking with, man, pull up to the site, find something you like. I got you. Make masculinity great again. Always a good combo. Dope shit, bro. It's what we need. And let's dive in, Candace. Let's see what all this is about.
Obviously, we covered this. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch. I believe it was Monday's episode. But yes, the Diddy lawsuit is absolutely crazy. Full stop. What if I told you guys that it is about to get even crazier, that there is directly a link to Michael Jackson's death? I want to be clear that when everything was going on with Michael Jackson, the lawsuits, his death, I thought that we were in full conspiracy theory territory when people were saying that Michael Jackson was killed. I actually know a lot of people that are in the industry who believe that Michael Jackson was killed, and I just thought it just sounds too whacked out to believe that somebody intentionally killed Michael Jackson. Of course, why would they do that? And also, I was believing the media. The media was extensively saying every single day that he was a pedophile, even though he factually won his case. I allowed my image of Michael Jackson certainly to be corroded by the media throughout that time period. I will fully confess that. Now, I want to remind you.
I didn't. Hell no. Stood on business, bruh. Ain't no slander for no MJ, dog. He ain't play with no kids. He ain't touch no kids. He was weird, had a different upbringing and all that, bro. He wasn't your regular human being, but that motherfucker was not in there fondling no boys' booty holes. And hell no. Hell no, bro. That's the GOAT. That's the GOAT. Entertainment, period.
Before we get back into Michael Jackson, what we learned in the Diddy documents, just to very quickly recap. Well, if you read through them, again, these are all allegations, but you will come out of it understanding that there is allegedly some sort of a blackmail ring that is operating throughout Hollywood, and that
fire,
artists that are producing music are actually being controlled via being induced into drugs at parties, and then what takes place is they're being recorded, and sometimes they're being recorded while they are committing sexual acts with minors. And something that we also saw in these docs is that these parties, at least a lot of them, are taking place in the Virgin Islands, which again just makes you go, what's happening here? Because Jeffrey Epstein, obviously, his home, or he owned an island that was just off the coast of St. Thomas. So we hear that again. I also am jogging your memory about the Bitcoin millionaire who, right before his death, found drowned, accidental drowning, even though he was fully clothed and had his wallet in his pocket, tweeted that the CIA and the Mossad were running a blackmail ring in the Virgin Islands. Something else that we learned in the Diddy lawsuit was that the media and the authorities are complicit. So the ring has real power, not imagined power. Again, I am using the word alleged because this person, despite having, video evidence and he has presented photographic evidence, this has not yet gone through the court system. And so we can't say that it's entirely true. And I'd say the biggest point that we took away from these Diddy docs was that this ring, if you believe it exists, can and will murder people to protect themselves. And he intimated this event that happened allegedly at a recording studio where Diddy and his son allegedly shot someone, and it was covered up by the LAPD and then the media. All right, so within those docs, and this is where it gets relevant, there is one man that is named as being the person that can do the cleanups, right? This is the guy that you are supposed to call if you get into any sort of a scenario. So in these docs, it says, Mr. Combs instructs his staff to always contact Mr. Muhammad, that is Fahim Muhammad, if they are ever pulled over by the police in Miami or California. And upon information and belief, this is regarding the shooting that took place at Chalice Recording Studios. Again, he is alleging that Diddy and his son shot someone. And after that shooting, the documents say explicitly that Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was shot at the recording studio. The LAPD was in the recording studio and witnessed the blood in the restroom, and they went with the bogus claim that the shooting of G occurred outside of the studio. This was all thanks to Mr. Muhammad's connections within law enforcement. So again, what we are seeing there is that you call this guy and this guy will make it disappear, and the media will report whatever the incident is in a capacity that covers up the crime, allegedly. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The cleanup guy, Mr. Fahim Muhammad, was also on the scene when Michael Jackson died. So I want to introduce you to and allow you to listen to Ian Carroll. He's an independent journalist that is investigating everything that is going on.
Candace is not playing with this one, boy. Let's continue.
And he explains that connection that Fahim has with Michael Jackson. Take a listen.
So this new lawsuit just came out that shows tons of evidence that P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, has been running a sexual blackmail operation very much like Jeffrey Epstein, but in the rap and music industry for basically 30 years. And in that lawsuit, we learned that his head of security while he's running the sexual blackmail ring is this guy named Fahim Muhammad, who before working for Diddy was the head of security for Michael Jackson when he was only 21. And he was one of the first people on the scene when Michael Jackson died. And before we go to Michael Jackson, the most important part of the Diddy case to bring across is the fact that the record executives at the very top knew what P. Diddy was doing. They were attending the parties with underage girls where they were spiking drinks. They were deeply involved in Diddy's personal life, and all evidence points to them supporting his operation, or at the very least turning a blind eye to it.
It's a lot to digest. It's a lot to process, man. Let me finish the rest of this.
Life, and all evidence points to them supporting his operation, or at the very least turning a blind eye to it.
So yes, this is obviously huge. It's also potentially terrifying. And now if you want to be rational and use the rational side of your brain, you just go, okay, well, this could just be a coincidence, right? Like Fahim Muhammad, he is in security. And yes, he obviously is high up in security. He was providing security to Michael Jackson. He happened to die on his watch. Big deal, right? Big deal. Well, I think that would lead us to the question of who exactly is Fahim Muhammad, because that's kind of a big first job to have. You're 21 years old and you're protecting the king of pop. What exactly are his qualifications?
Facts.
Let's go back to Ian Carroll and his reporting.
And now, here's the best part. Check this out. This is in all of his bios, by the way, but we're pointing it out now. In 2008, Fahim graduated from Sacramento State University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in real estate and marketing. Okay? Do you realize what's wrong with that yet? Anything coming to mind? When did Michael Jackson die? June 25th, 2009. Jackson died from cardiac arrest caused by a propofol and benzodiazepine overdose, caused by his doctor apparently. Hold up. Hold the phone. Pause. Why is a dude who just graduated college last year with a business and real estate degree the head of security for the king of pop, for Michael Jackson, the most famous musician of all time?
Yeah, that is remarkably suspicious. And if we had a media that was interested in actually presenting the truth and not just propagandizing on behalf of the state, they would probably explore and look deeper into who this character is. But of course, that's not what the media does. Instead, they are meant to convince people of certain narratives. And like I said in the past, I've been a victim to that. I was obviously very young when everything was going on with Michael Jackson, and I believed the media, which is why I was kind of stunned to kind of go back and revisit the Michael Jackson case. And Ian has extensively unpacked that, revealing, and I did not know this, maybe perhaps because the media wasn't interested in telling us the end result. But yes,
you can't rely on the fucking media though. Candace, you know that, man. But bro, this Diddy shit getting crazy, man. But I mean, it's just the connection between Diddy and Michael Jackson. It's like, who placed the Muhammad guy there? I mean, 2008, Diddy did have juice, but it's still Michael Jackson. Even though Diddy is in some shit, bro. Some shit he never gonna get out of, bro. On some Epstein type shit. if this fool is implicated in having something to do with Michael Jackson's death too, bro, like. But I don't think that's where they're going with this, bro. But just to see that connection, I mean, it is interesting, bro. I've always thought Michael Jackson was murdered. That was definitely intentional. I don't know the reasons behind it, but it doesn't make any sense for him to die under the circumstances he did. But that's an entirely different topic, even though, you know, she's presenting the connections between the two situations. But Diddy, bro, Diddy, dog. The fact that this man's still walking the streets tells you everything you need to know. That there hasn't been an arrest, there ain't been no protesting, ain't been nothing, man. You got literally the damn, as much of a devil that I've seen, just walking around here without a care in the world.
FBI raided Michael Jackson's home. They poured through hours upon hours of the video footage that he had, other materials, documents that were in his house, trying to find this connection to Michael Jackson and potential child abuse. And what ended up being the result was that they could not find a single shred of proof that Michael Jackson had abused any children. And yet, despite this, the media convinced us that he was a pedophile. Or maybe they didn't convince you, but they definitely did a good job convincing me that Michael Jackson was a pedophile. And to be clear, maybe it's perhaps the lack of evidence that was ever uncovered. Michael Jackson was found not guilty of all of the charges that were brought against him.
Yeah, but
that didn't stop the media's...
Yeah, once that headline is out there, bro, and motherfuckers always been thinking crazy shit about Michael Jackson anyway. That sucked, bro. That sucked. That sucked as a Michael Jackson fan. I know a lot of y'all was in that damn same boat with me, bro, when they hear fools out here talking shit the way they did about Michael, bro. He had issues. He definitely had his issues, and he wasn't no damn angel either. But a pedophile, he was not. And they tried to do their damnness to knock that motherfucker off his throne. But that's just how that shit go, bro. The higher your ass is, the harder they gonna come at you to knock your ass off that motherfucker. And they definitely tainted his image in a lot of people's eyes unfairly, bro. Shit was fucked up.
Obsessive attacks against him. They still wanted people to believe that this man was a bad individual. And so they shifted their claims and they started revealing in so many articles, so many front page news pieces were written to tell the masses that Michael Jackson was a raging anti-Semite. It is a fact, by the way, that Michael Jackson did keep a list of people in the industry that he said were his enemies, okay? On that list were people that all happened to be Jewish. So it was lawyer Gloria Allred, music exec Tommy Mottola, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, you may have heard of him, and I'm going to mention him later, Israeli illusionist Uri Geller, and also Michael Jackson's former manager, Dieter Wiesner. Now, to be clear, it was Dieter himself that revealed that Michael Jackson had this list. But he says that Michael Jackson was just paranoid, that Michael Jackson thought that these industry people were all colluding to try to ruin his life and to take over his life. And again, that was just Michael Jackson being crazy and being a raging anti-Semite. Well, Ian Carroll also investigates those claims as well.
Hey, bro,
take a listen.
I should have just went to Ian Carroll shit, bro. Ian Carroll is that guy, dog. I gotta go to you for my motherfucking news too. Sheesh. Hey, TikTok be on it, bro, but look like TikTok ain't gonna be around much longer, dog. So hopefully you got a good IG going for you, bro.
And yes, Jackson did say that the Jews are, probably referring to the Jews in the music industry, are like leeches and that they took everything from him and that they did it on purpose. But when you look into those allegations or those insults,
same shit everybody's saying now, though. Everybody's saying now all the Jews in the industry are a certain way. But they label all Jews that way. You can't do that. You're labeling the industry Jews that way because they run every fucking thing, which makes sense. I'm not an anti-Semite, dog. Don't kill me.
Because of his will that was probably fake and filed right before his death. So the will was signed on July 7th in Los Angeles by 3 witnesses. But Jackson's family pointed out that he was in New York that day, and there's video proving it. So they changed their story. But the witnesses definitely saw it, and it was just in New York. So anyways, because of this will, John Branca was put in charge of his estate, which included his net worth of $230 million, but far more importantly, his 50% share of Sony ATV was $750 million. Yes, he was taking on Sony. He was going after the hand that feeds him. And when you look into John Branca, in 2003, Jackson fired Branca because he was siphoning money out.
Digest, dog. This motherfucker is unpacking it all. Sheesh.
filed right before his death. So the will was signed on July 7th in Los Angeles by 3 witnesses. But Jackson's family pointed out that he was in New York that day, and there's video proving it. So they changed their story. But the witnesses definitely saw it, and it was just in New York. So anyways, because of this will, John Branca was put in charge of his estate, which included his net worth of $230 million, but far more importantly, his 50% share of Sony ATV worth $750 million. Yes, he was taking on Sony. He was going after the hand that feeds him. And when you look into John Branca, in 2003, Jackson fired Branca because he was siphoning money out of Jackson's accounts in collusion with Sony Music CEO Tommy Mottola and funneling it through a bunch of offshore accounts in the Caribbean.
Woof.
John Branca is Jewish, and Tommy Mottola is also Jewish.
Wow. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know any of that? Because I certainly didn't. I didn't realize that this was a conflict at the end of Michael Jackson's life, that suddenly they were alleging that he signed a new will and handed everything over to the very people that he was fighting, the very people that he was saying were colluding to take things from him.
That would make sense why Michael Jackson is no longer here, bro.
Ended up, in the end, taking things from him, despite their remarkable mistake saying that he signed this new will in a place that he simply wasn't at. So yes, Michael Jackson's estate was transferred over to specific individuals who happened to be Jewish. So what do we make of all of this? What do we make of all of this? What do you think about all of this? Well, I'm going to be honest with you that these claims keep coming up too often in Hollywood for me to be comfortable with it.
Yeah, I ain't know about any of that shit, bro. I don't have enough background in it. I don't have enough education in it, bro. But the conspiracy they just laid down would make sense as to why Michael Jackson is no longer here with us. It just follows this narrative about a particular group in the industry having a lot of power, able to do whatever the fuck that they want to do, right? Don't cancel me. And that would make sense why MJ is no longer here. But just the implication of Diddy, bro, on top of that shit just makes it seem so much worse. Dude, that's why I was here. I thought Diddy had something to do with why Michael Jackson was no longer here based on the direction, based on what you were saying, bro. But I wonder if one of these elites, these industry elites, they placed that security. Yeah, duh. That's what the fuck happened. Cause Muhammad graduated in 2008, had some type of fucking connection. Somebody grabbed him, threw him to fucking MJ, cause he's young, don't know shit. But why would MJ allow that? But he didn't even have control of his own estate. So I mean, it wouldn't be far fetched to believe that he didn't have any control over his head of security, who was selected for that, right? But it was somebody that definitely had ill intention, which resulted in what happened to fucking MJ, dog. That's a lot, bro. She unpacked a lot. Well, Cuz unpacked a lot. Ian Carroll, and then we got, the new Epstein. Diddy is the new Epstein, bro. God damn, 2024 has continued from this bang that it has started off with, bro. Good, Google it, Moogle it.